Hello everyone, it's Andrea and welcome back to my channel. I have a big scrapbooking layout planned for you today in this video. And by big, I mean an oversized photo accompanied by some little photos. Do you guys ever get big photos of, like an enlargement? Maybe you get a free 8x10 from Walgreens. Well, my intention was to print this photo of my daughter Isabella in 8x10 format. And believe it or not, she actually hates this photo. It's kind of funny. We went out shopping. We stopped in Home Goods really quickly while she was on a little break from her classes and no makeup or anything. And I just loved the way this photo turned out. There were like these great big snowflakes falling through the air and it just was magical. And it just put us in the Christmas mood. But I love the photo. Isabella's not so sure. I wanted to scrapbook it and I wanted it to be big. So I went to print it in 8x10 format on my Epson printer, and the paper was loaded as 8.5 by 11, and I ended up with an 8.5 by 11 inch print. So I'm not going to crop this. I'm just going to go with it. I love the way that we've got the pop of red from the store name in the background, and just love the whole photo. I don't love the photos that she took of me, but fair is fair, so I'm going to include them in this layout as well. Now, here's where my thought process went. I was trying to find a paper pack that would look great with this photo. And I came back to this mix-in paper pack. It is from our September-October catalog, but it's still available. And I just think it's such a versatile paper pack. I love that it's got like traditional Christmas colors and then the pop of red. But you might notice that the red in my photo with the preset that I used, which means that I've changed up the coloring in this photo just a bit, doesn't quite match with this particular red, but it's okay. We're going to use this sparingly and it's still going to coordinate pretty well, I think. Now, if you saw my pack of what's left, I don't have very much of this paper left in here. I've been working on tags and stuff with it, and so I wanted to use what I had. So I'm not using a pattern. We're just going to go with it. The other thing that I wanted to use, I was sure I needed something snowy. So I have my Snow Cute stamp and thin cut set. I have used this in my Days of December album, and I embossed the snowflakes in gold. I have a video out on my channel if you want to look at that. And I also used the thin cuts, but this time we're going to keep it a little simpler. And I have just stamped a whole bunch of the snowflakes onto black cardstock using my white daisy ink. It's a pigment based ink, so it's, one of those sticky inks that lays on top of the paper. And so I pre-stamped these, let them dry overnight, and then die cut them. They needed a lot of time. I could have sped up the process if I decided to emboss over that pigment ink, but this time I wanted to keep the snowflakes kind of subtle. And so I've gone ahead and just stamped and cut out an assortment of those. But this stamp set we're going to use in a few different manners besides the snowflakes. So the first thing that I really want to do, let me just clean all of this up. I want to actually stamp a sentiment right onto this photo. And I'm going to bring in my Versamat for that. I have my old Archival Black ink, and I'm going to stamp down here, "You're Snow Cute," right there. I'm going to test it on some scrap paper first, and I'm going to bring in just a piece I have. I was just testing out some flowers here, and I'm just going to get my Archival Black ink kind of primed onto this stamp. I'm bringing in my very old Archival Black, and I just want to make sure it has enough ink before I commit to burning my photo. Now, I'm a little nervous about this, but if it does not work, I can always cut out a piece of white daisy or French vanilla and mount a little saying on top of it. So let's see how this looks. Yeah, that's not quite where I want it to be. So let's keep going. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring in my stamping platform, because I think that might help us in case we need to reposition or restamp this. So I have an old Tim Holtz platform here. And I'm just going to put these down onto my magnetic glass board here. I'm just going to wipe this off carefully. don't want that ink to get onto my hands, because I will inevitably put it into our project here. So let's position that where I think I want it. And I like how that came out. So we're just going to set this part aside to dry. Close up the ink so that we don't make a mess. Okay, so first I have my left base page, which I'm going to put over here. I also have my right base page. I'll just lay over there. We'll start on the left-hand side first, but I just wanted to show you, I'm using 2 different color cardstocks as my bases. White Daisy on this side because it costs less money, and I'm going to cover this completely up anyway. And then on the left side, I have a piece of French vanilla because I'm going to leave some of that sticking out. Now, I've cut down a piece of cardstock from our mix and paper pack. It is 12 inches tall, and I have made it 9.5 inches wide because my photo is 8.5 by 11. So I wanted a 1/2 inch border all around this paper. The first thing I want to do is just take my toffee ink pad, and I'm just going to edge this just a bit. So I'm just going to run this along the edges because I just want a little definition. This is just a simple way to ink your edges, very quick, and it just pops the paper just a tiny bit. Now, additionally, before I put this toffee ink away, I want to just do a bit of stamping down the left edge here. So I'm going to bring in my Versamat again. This is going to be a really quick and easy layout, but I think just adding a tiny bit of stamping in the background here will really make this layout pop. So I'm just looking for my stamp set here, and I'm just going to put some really tiny, I'm going to call them snowflakes, onto a teensy tiny block. And we're going to use that just to put a little bit of snow down the side of the page here. So I'm just rotating where I'm going. I switch the stamp around so that it doesn't look like it's such a repeating pattern. Like that. So I'm going to just cover this back up. We'll revisit this toffee ink again. But now comes the fun part. That's assembling this layout. So I'm going to just go ahead and flip over my Versamat, and I'm just going to do a little trick that the girls have taught me from the design team. We're going to lay just a little bit of adhesive down here so that our base page does not move at all. There we go. Now we have our piece of mix-in cardstock, 9.5 by 12. And we're going to lay that right down on top here. We'll line that up. Sometimes it's hard to see on camera, so I just kind of use my hand to find the edges. There we are. And then I just have some 1/2 inch strips that I've cut out of the mix and paper pack as well. I've cut 3 of those. I'm going to use 1 on this side and 2 on the other side. Told you I did not have a lot of this paper left, so I wanted to use what I had. And I just thought this pop of green, although I was not originally going to bring green in, there's no green in the photos. I just wanted that little pop, and I just felt like this was a good way to achieve that pop of contrast with this photo that's all black and red and tans. So now I have a zip strip that's still attached to about 1/2 inch of paper. This was from another project that was left over. So I didn't detach these. I'm going to just run those together next to each other. And we will lay that down. And you'll notice we're going to overlap some of the snowflakes over here on our left that we've stamped. And that's exactly how I wanted it to be. I wanted it to overlap just a bit. And I like how that looks so far. I hope you guys are enjoying that as well. And then the next thing to do is just to put our photo. Now I had thought about maybe matting this photo, but I kind of like how we're going to keep it simple. I like not having the matte on this big photo. It's such a statement piece that I think that this 9.5 by 12 inch piece acts as our matte. So I'm just going to actually, instead of flipping that photo and taking the chance that that archival ink is not dry yet from the sentiment that we stamped, I am simply going to lay this on and center it. Now, these little tiny squares that are all around here really help me accomplish that because I can use them as a guide to line up this photo. So there we are. I love that so far. I hope you guys are enjoying that too. And then I think I'm just going to pick out some of our clusters of snowflakes here. And here we go. Let's see what we've got down here. I'm going to use, I think, 5 different snowflakes over on this particular side. And so it's always helpful to just have some foam tape to pop those up on. Usually I start with the very, very biggest snowflake. And this time I think I want to change it up just a bit. Just looking through my little collection here. Because I definitely want 5 on this side and I've got 4. We'll use this one too. I'm just looking, I think I'm going to put this one down lowest. We're just going to put that down about here. The next will be this bigger one here, this bigger snowflake. Now, like I said, you could have definitely gone with a bolder, you know, embossed look to this. And I just wanted it to be kind of calm and neutral. I did not mean to lay that snowflake on top of our ink there. I do think it's doing a great job of drying on its own, but put this one right about there. We're just going to flurry these on up the page. And I do think that that looks really nice. Simple, right? You just take your photo and mat it and then just run some strips down the side and give this a little interest. I think it's perfect. And it's a quick little page. Now let's move on to the other side. It's going to be quick and easy too. So I'm just going to go ahead and move in our piece of white daisy cardstock. So we've got that on the mat here. There we go. And then we're going to do some of the same technique. Got some pieces of cardstock here that we're going to use. And I'm just looking. That one went off. There it is. Okay, so I have very much the same kind of idea with the paper strips. I'm going to build from the bottom up to the top. Some of the things that I want to do, I want to, again, just go around this particular toffee pattern here with a toffee ink. So we're going to build from the bottom to the top, and I'm going to go and just lay down some strips of adhesive. Moving up the page. So we're going to start with this piece of toffee patterned cardstock from the Mix-Ins. And this one was cut at 1 1/4 inches. Next, I'm going to bring in our red and white patterned cardstock from the Mix-Ins. And this one you'll see is cut at 1 inch. Now, if you had 1.5 inches of this cardstock and 3/4 of this, you could do the same thing. This idea is very forgiving, and it's great for using up the pieces that you have in your collection. Now, you don't even have to repeat the same pattern top and bottom. You could definitely change it up. I could put this side up. I kind of like the muted pattern on this particular side, though. So we're going to adhere that down. And we're going to repeat the pattern back up. We'll do the green patterned cardstock. And now we are running out of adhesive up here. I'm just going to add some more. We'll put down the red pattern. So again, 1/2 inch strip of green, 1-inch strip of the red and white. This in the middle was 6.5 inches, and I made sure that this was 6.5 inches because I want a 1/4 of an inch border around my photos. I'm going to pull this off for a minute. I'm going to move my base out of the way, and I'm going to just stamp a little on top here with our toffee ink before I adhere this down to the page. Now I just want a flurry of snow tone on tone up here as well. And I think that will do it for me. I think I want to just anchor one more, a little bit down here. I want it to kind of fall off the page here. So I think that's it for the toffee ink. So let's just set that aside for a moment. So I'm just going to flip this Versamat back over. Let's put our paper back on here for just a moment. We're just going to work this up into the top corner, top edge up here. Now we're just going to add our photos onto this layout. And like I told you before, I was not thrilled with the photos of me, but that's okay. This layout really isn't about me, but I will include them because we're never really happy with the photos of ourselves, I don't think, but there we go. So there's another one of Isabella catching the snowflakes. It was like the inside. The snowflakes were like the inside of a beanbag. It was pretty interesting. They were just big and fluffy and like styrofoam balls. So I just thought that was so pretty. Now here's the photos of me, and you can tell. Yeah, they're not my favorite photos, but I think I just want to put them, I could just put them like right over here if I wanted and keep them straight. I think I'm going to keep them straight. I was contemplating making them, you know, a little bit askew. Now I have used another piece of mix-in. These photos are cut to 3 inches by 3 inches. So the mix-in paper is cut to 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And these are just going to go down flat too. We have some snowflakes, and I do want to cluster them here and there as well. So I want to make 2 clusters of snowflakes. I have the one that goes up the side here, and I actually forgot a little detail up here too, something I wanted to do. I wanted to just kind of put little dovetail pieces up in the corner. So I have a couple little scraps of cardstock that were just in my bag too. So I just want to add that to the top, but I really think that this is going to need a little bit of ink. So let's just pull in. I'm going to fold this in half just a bit, and we're going to ink both of these edges. I do want this banner piece to pop off the page. So there's one, and then we're going to make another little banner piece here. So we're just going to snip and snip, and then we'll get back to putting our snowflakes on the right hand page. So let's see. I just wanted a little added interest up here. So I'm just going to adhere these down, and I'm going to put them where I want and then trim them after. I think that'll look pretty. So let's put this to the red, the edge of the red plaid up here. And we'll put this here, and then we'll just pick this up and give it a good little snip. Like so. So I forgot about those little pieces that I wanted to add, those more little scraps, and I just think that they make a cute little addition to our layout on that left-hand page. So let's finish the right-hand page. It's just a matter of popping up all of these little snowflakes here and there. And then my intention is to put little journaling strips down here. I love to do that. Just add little strips for journaling. And I generally do that after I film the video because I kind of like keeping the story, you know, mine. If I have clusters of embellishments, I always like to have those in a triangle too. And I like to have it be a little unexpected. I don't want them to be all lined up in a perfect right triangle. So I kind of want it to be a little messy. And I like the way that that turned out. And then the other cluster of snowflakes, I think I want somewhere down here. we're just going to foam tape those as well. And the big snowflake on this portion is kind of across, not point to point up and down. So I do want to put the point up and down this time. So I've got two going across here, one up and down, and here we'll have two up and down and one across. I just think that that balances the page, and I like how that finishes it out. So that'll still leave me a little room to put my journaling strips here. And all in all, it was a quick layout, just using some strips of paper. Move everything out of the way so we can take a quick look at the layout. Let's take a look at all of the detail up close. Now, I just love how this layout came together with this big oversized photo, and we found a little negative space here that we could just stamp right onto the photo using archival ink. The snowflakes are definitely unusual, stamped white daisy ink onto black cardstock. I've added some sparkles here in the center, and the sparkles come in a pack from Close to My Heart like this, and they are larger than some of our bitty sparkles, which you'll see on the other page. Just one big photo mat and strips of cardstock and a little stamping just finish out that page. Now on this page, I've added a few things that you've not seen yet. Now I have the little banner pieces from up here. We had some little pieces left, so I just turned them on their side and put them down here for a little interest. It doesn't really pop. It's just something that's there. I have made a little title up here, May Your Season Sparkle, out of the Snow Cute stamp set. I love this. I love that saying. I love the little tiny snowflakes that are stamped. They kind of mimic the ones we put up here. And I have just added both the normal sparkles and then the bitty sparkles here. And I like having the two different sizes. I have added more sparkles to each cluster of snowflakes. And I really do love the way that this layout turned out. I think for something such a big photo, you can really pull together a layout quickly just by running strips of cardstock, patterned cardstock. It's a great way to use just one pack of patterned cardstock. You don't even need the stickers, and just bring in one stamp set with thin cuts that you love a lot. This could be any subject you could use, and you could put different images down the side and in clusters, and it's just perfect. And don't forget to put your journaling strips and write what this is about, because the stories we tell are the most important. Now, if you've not already done so, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button that you see on your screen. I would love it if you comment or you give this video a thumbs up. And when you hit that subscribe button, you'll be notified. You won't miss out on any of the videos. There's also that little notification bell. You can click that as well. I would love to hear from you. And I hope that you've been inspired to scrapbook with your large photos. Thanks for watching and have a creative day.